And we're back at Midnight Cable. I'm Giman.
And I'm Brandon. And when we last left off, we were talking about Hitoribocchi.
In case you missed that, click the link on the description below where we're discussing about it. If you're here for Kumamiko, however, well, let's continue. Kumamiko, Girl Meets Bear, is another story of social anxiety, but of different kind. Being a country bumpkin. The series is about Machi Amayadori, a 14-year-old girl serving as a mountain village Miko, a shrine maiden. Her only friend is a talking bear named Natsu, a representative between the bears and humans. She finds her life in the village unfulfilling and wants to go to the big city in order to see the world more. The only problem is, she has never been outside her home or made a human friend. Natsu opposes her for this very reason, but mostly because he doesn't want her to leave him alone, as she is his only real friend. Then cute hijinks and tragedy follows. The end. So Brandon, from what I understand, this was your second time watching this anime. I mean, it was the first time for me since, I already heard about the reputation about this show before we even started. And so I kind of knew what I was getting into, but what I experienced was still, woo boy, I can't even describe it. But I do gotta ask, how was it watching this the second time, now considering that you already knew what was coming up?
Oh, sorry, I was having a PTSD there. Anyway, I think, in every sense of a way, this anime is vastly superior to Hitoribocchi. Not only does it has, better animation and visuals and character design, it has better music, better story progression, and actual character with, actual character arc, drama that we care about, things that make us engage in watching more, and an actual adorable and, cute plot that, just make you feel so good and fill you with a lot of hopes and, dreams and fulfillment that actually feel like a huge joy to watch. But that was the only first 10 episodes, because the latter 2 episodes completely destroyed everything. It just ruined it.
Yeah, well, before we actually start talking about the one thing that everybody remembers this show about and nothing else, I think we should at least talk about the merits this show has and what actually make it work so much better than Hitoribocchi before we get into the most painful part.
Yeah.
Characters! So when it comes to our main character, Machi Amayadori, a 14-year-old child victim, sorry, oh, spoilers. I think she's adorable. That's the best word to describe her. I mean, seeing her interacting with Natsu is some of the cutest stuff I've seen in quite some time. And her struggles of overcoming her social anxiety and panic attacks that she suffers feels very rewarding to watch. I mean, she is easily the most sympathetic character in this entire show, considering what she goes through and how every time she achieves but her goal of going to the big city further and further by improving herself, her progression feels much more gradual than Bocchi's, because Bocchi's was something like, very minimal like this, while with Machi it's like, like you can actually see it as episodes go on that, that she kind of feels like she's growing as a person. And I especially like, Natsu, because he's like a father figure to her and the only friend that she has. I mean, what do you think about the relationship that Machi and Natsu share?
Yeah, for once, I would like to say that, for a character, Natsu is really unique. You don't see this type of, anthropomorphic character, portrayed like this, as this caring father before in anime. I think, like, genuinely, their relationship is the purest thing that I've ever seen in anime. Like, it's just so cute and wholesome. Like, you can really tell that these characters actually care, love, and, be there for each other. I mean, Natsu is there for Machi, encouraging and, teaching her for what's right and what's wrong, and showing her the magic of modern technology. I mean, there is even a scene where he tried to teach her how to use a rice cooker. I mean, as a rice farmer myself, I'm kind of amused with the idea that someone would have struggled with, using a rice cooker. I mean, some rice, you put it in a pot, you add some water, and then you put it there, and then you press the button, and that's it. But for Machi, that is such a huge, and mountainous task that, she's trying to overcome, and Masu is just there calmly guiding her through it. And so it was, very genuine. It felt really natural, and it's not only just Machi that role as a character. Nasu over the course of the story also role as a character, as he has his developed moment at the end of near the end of the anime where he realized that, his selfish way of thinking might not be the best for, Machi, that, maybe it's time that she grow up and, move away from him. But it makes us feel really sympathetic and care for these characters and their well-being, and it just felt really magical.
Yeah, I mean, these two are probably the only sympathetic people in this show, but when it comes to the other side characters, I kind of feel like that they could have been also a bit more wholesome or fun to watch, but they're anything but that. I mean, of course, there are some exceptions, but most of the time the adults in the village, they don't really see Machi as a 14-year-old girl. They see her as a sort of a cute doll, like a Barbie doll, that they just want to dress up like this, like let's put you into this cute outfit, let's put you into this idol contest, or let you put into this commercial in a bathing suit, like that. And I think the worst offender out of these people is none other than Machi's 25-year-old cousin, Yoshio, who, if I were to describe him in one word, would be an a-hole. I mean, can you really think of any other character in a long time that we have seen who has angered us to this extent?
The show kind of portrays him in a way that, he's this, dense, klutzy type of character who doesn't have the ability to, read other people's feelings and, is totally ignorant about other, opinions. But, he has good intention at heart where, he wants to do everything for the benefit of the village and, make it more recognizable at, the cost of Machi's well-being, of course. But, it's given this opportunity to create this rather engaging, misunderstood type character. But the way he is portrayed, in the show is rather cringy and scummy. Especially, when the fact that that, he's 25 years old. And there's a scene where, after getting punched in the face by Machi, he just, pushed her down, this 14 years old, girl, half naked to the ground, and then asked her this question. Why do you let the bear watch you, naked just fine, but why can't I do the same? Like, what the hell? Like, is this a person with common sense? Is this a respectable adult, or like, is this just an asshole?
You almost make him sound like a hentai protagonist, but but I don't think that was even the worst moment that he had. I mean, I think the worst one was when later in the series, the village is doing this sort of a commercial where they try to bring more tourists there and stopping young people from leaving. So well, understand that Yoshia kind of had to make the backdoor deal behind in order to get the funding for the commercial, but he still pulls kind of a dick move behind them by forcing sort of editing changes, where instead of it becoming a commercial for the village, it becomes the one shopkeeper's commercial for their establishment, and basically limiting the roles of everyone involved in the commercial to like 1 second. And of course, so one character does kind of point out that you scummy all like that, but everyone else just don't really care, because the show does seem to have this small theme that isn't explored that much, which is the fact that be happy about little things, that and how these country people are so used to having so little that even appearing 1 second on TV is enough for them, that they're happy that way. But the fact that they use this philosophy as a way for Yoshio to get away scot-free and not escape from the consequences of his actions, just like that he never gets punished, it's so downright frustrating that I feel like that every time I see his smug face after that, since I lost sympathy at that that point. Every time I see him talking or suggesting anything about, Machi doing something indecent, I just want to punch him so hard in the face.
Every time he's on the scene, it's kind of ruined the anime for me. He might not have physically abused her, but mentally he did.
Story! So just like Hitoribocchi, this show also has the similar plot structure in terms of episodes, that it focuses on different characters at the time and their relationship to Machi, but at the same time there is this ongoing struggle that she has bettering herself and preparing herself for the big trip in the city. But the show also juggles between cringe comedy, slapstick, and sexual humor, and I think the latter especially can sometimes become extremely uncomfortable, like I said, because every single character always wants to dress her up, and force her into the most socially awkward positions. And I know that the show at least tries to justify some of these moments, such as, going to the convenience store where she has to sell these products by talking to people, which serve as a sort of a test to her character and, overcoming those challenges. And she does overcome some of those, especially later. But the way, other characters make them worse, the show has this, weird combination of both comedic and serious tone, because I know that there is usually this sort of a balance between serious and good. When things are serious, when they animation, music, and the character designs look that way, and same with the comedy, it's more simplistic. I like that. But the fact that some serious moment is going on at the same time that hasn't been resolved, and then it overlaps with some comedic character like Yoshio. I say comedic when I meet a complete bastard, just because suddenly comes and makes things worse, and the traumatic panic attack still continues while there's something funny going at the same time. It's kind of like, is this supposed to be funny? Is this supposed to be something serious? How exactly are you supposed to feel? Because I feel so confused most of the time that I actually only feel happy when it's actually over and how much he has managed to overcome that challenge. But at the same time, it has kind of made me hate some of those side characters, especially Yoshio, even more.
Yeah, it kind of left you with the feeling so complicated.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, the initial first few episodes was totally wholesome and fine, like I like the idea of, Nasu just presenting these, challenge, sort of, test for Machi to overcome. And, I would love it for the show, most of the bulk of the show, just to be like that. Each episode is a different challenge. If they managed to do that, then this could have been, an average, slice of life anime that anyone could enjoy. But as soon as, the abuse happened and that son of a Yoshio, show up on screen, it just go downhill from here, and it just has a lot of red flag. But despite all that, I, persevere and, keep pushing on and watching more, because, it's just like you said, even though the bad stuff happened, each episode felt like a huge progression for her, and it does start to build up toward a climax with an actual end goal in mind. Unlike Hitoribocchi, which doesn't have any stake or any, goal at all.
Yeah, though that does remind me of the fact that we should probably just bite the bullet and start talking about the one thing that everybody remembers about this show for, the only thing anyone remembers this show for. The ending. Brandon, since I know that you're the one who experienced this show firsthand without any kind of warning how it was going to conclude, because I knew about this show before you started watching, and this was your second time, so I think you should have the floor here. That maybe you should explain that how exactly did it feel watching the conclusion to this show without any warning what was gonna happen?
It was as painful as I remember it was to be. I mean, there I was after enduring, 10 episodes of having a feeling so complicated and, actual good show with character progression that felt natural and, organic and, building up to a happy conclusion. I was half expecting that, the anime will end on this one triumphant moment where, it's kind of end in a cheesy way that you expect a slice of life anime like this to end, where, Machi will just run forward Nasu and then start hugging each other, and then she said, yeah, I did it, Nasu, I overcome another test. And Nasu said, that's right, Machi, that's right, you did good, we prepare you for season 2 of this anime when it comes, like those type of ending, where it's open end and happy like that. But no, I mean, the show even had this really long and elaborate, idol constant arc, and it kind of built up to that moment, like I said. It even had the bear sitting in the audience, cheering Machi on while she doing her performance, and yelling like, hey Machi, I'm here for you, and stuff like that. It's so perfect. It's just so perfect for that happy ending moment. And then that happened. It just happened like that. The last 3 minutes, she hallucinated that she got stoned by the people that she was performing for, and then she just, was overwhelmed by her fear and anxiety that she broke her mind. She just broken. Like, Machi just became a vegetable. She became mentally challenged like there. Like, she just lost all of her hope and dream. And she said to everyone, like, I don't want to go to the city anymore. I want to abandon my dream. Like, what? Like, after 10 episodes of building up, this is what you're leading up to? And Nasu, who has character development for the entirety of the show, even was having character drama moment with himself, like some conflict with himself in the last episode, suddenly has a 180 change of mind and turned into a complete asshole and said, hey Machi, it's gonna be fine now, you don't need to worry about anything, you can just stay here at the village with me and be an ignorant child forever, it's gonna be fine. And that son of a Yoshio, I mean, god damn it, like, instead of even explaining to Machi that it was all in her head, or even cheer her on, he was just in the background saying, yeah, now that she like this, I better find other way to make the village better. Like, what was the point of this entire anime? Like, does any of these people actually care about Machi at all? Like, does any of her character progression matters? Like, no, nothing matters. Like, it felt to me like if I were watching One Piece, and at the end of One Piece, before Luffy fight the One Piece, he just said yeah, that's fine, I just gonna give up and go back to my house and play Fortnite, something like that. It just felt like a huge betrayal. It felt to me like everything was fine until the Fire Nation attack kind of moment, and it just like it felt like I was slapped across the face for even enjoying this show. Like, I don't know, like, Jesus, like, you gave me so much hope and, joy watching this. Like, why did you have to end this anime this way? Like, it's like, if we are this frustrated while we binge watch this, imagine the feeling that the people, when they, watch the original broadcast version, every single week wait for new episode, turn on the TV and, watch Machi progress as a character, see the message of the show is about, encouraging yourself and get over your fear and anxiety, only to get slapped across the face like this at the end, where, it just ends with that, yeah, all of her progress is reset to 0 and she became ignorant and, mentally challenged just like that. And, everyone is an ass who used her all along. Like, what is the message you're trying to say here? And, not only does the anime staff should have feel ashamed of themselves, the manga author should have felt ashamed of himself as well for even coming up with the story that, this rather bleak story which has no positive about it, just focusing on, abusing this innocent child. Like, Jesus, like, I don't know, like, I can't take it anymore. Like, I don't want to talk about this anime anymore. I quit. You can do the rest of the show without me.
What? You're serious? Excuse me a bit for a moment. What are you doing? We have a show to do. What are you doing here?
No, please. I don't want to review that horrible show anymore.
You serious?
Yes.
You really don't want to do it?
No, it's just so painful. I don't want to remember.
That's right. You don't have to think about it anymore.
I don't have to think about the show anymore.
That's right.
I don't have to ever watch it ever again anymore.
That's right.
I don't have to review it anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Let's go back and, review the music and animation and we'll be done.
Really?
That's right.
Okay.
You don't have to be thinking about anything anymore.
Oh my God.
Music and animation.
When it comes to animation, music, and visuals, I think there's no doubt in mind that this show is vastly superior than Hitoribocchi. I mean, not only does the character model stay consistent on the scene, there is a lot of detail and love and care when it comes to, drawing the background, the visuals, the coloring, the lighting. Everything about this anime just scream high quality. Like the comedic moment was timed really well. Like the character animation and the way they move, it just felt so fluid, and there was so much love and care put into it. Not to mention the music, like I can see there's a lot of moments where music is used so right and so well done. Like it has both comedic and uplifting music. One example I can give is that one scene where Machi and Natsu is in the forest and she does this Trankara dance, and then it has just done this weird techno music out of nowhere. Like, it's just so good.
Yeah, I especially like, the opening and ending songs. With the opening, it has these really warm colors and lots of hugging with Natsu and Machi, with different locations, them doing, all this fun stuff. I think the weirdest visual in that opening is probably when Natsu is for some reason in Paris, standing on, in a Louvre museum, that glass ceiling kind of thing. And but I think that I like the ending the most, because not just with the weird beat that it has, with Natsu and Machi's voice actors singing, but also with the Japanese RPG kind of graphics, with the characters moving, and this really happy song to it, that happy days, and it gives you this really warm and happy feeling to it, just like the song says.
Yeah, it just feels so cute and wholesome, like this, motto that there, just hug me more and squeeze me more, like, so much love, so much, wholesomeness just oozing out. But it just doesn't feel the same anymore. Like, I can't even look at those the same after watching that ending, how it happened. Like, every time I remember the opening visuals, I feel PTSD, because, looking at them loving each other like that, and then, just imagine that blank face that, Machi make at the end after she lost her mind, and, it just felt, like, it just make me broken. Like, why you do this to me, anime? Like, the anime even there has the audacity of, having that, scene follow up with that happy, uplifting ending music, like it was some triumphant, happy ending, like, it's an ending where everyone is happy together like that. No, like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, it's not enough that the, that ending music is playing when that final 3 minutes is playing, but the fact that, not only do we see Machi's dazed look in her face and asking some really ignorant questions of that, Natsu, what is the internet? Like becoming, this mentally challenged, and, Natsu says that, it's all okay and like that. And then, it cuts into that final image of the ending scene where they are at the roof, and like hugging each other and wrestling on the roof, and then flying into the sky, in the night sky, and then Machi happily sleeping on Natsu's lap. That because this is totally a happy ending, and that's why we end on this happy visual, like some 14-year-old girl who gets mentally broken and then turns into a brain dead heart. That this is totally a happy moment, like.
No. Oh no.
Conclusion.
I think, Kumamiko actually has the capability to become a decent and actual good show. The anime has a lot of cool moments and building up for character relationship, and felt good at times. I mean, there are, of course, red flags and moment of like that, happening. But, I just want to give up hope and, that the ending will, remedy it. But, it just never happened. Like, if only more uplifting ending instead of that comedic giving up ending that we have, it would have been a much better show. It would have been a 7 out of 10 show instead of this crap. Like, I mean, as it stands, Kumamiko is a prime example of how not to end your anime, how not to leave the audience hanging with a disappointing ending. Like, I think Gainax's ending, as notorious as they are, it's not even as worse as this.
Yeah, I mean, this is not really as, leaving with a sort of a confusing thing. It's like a literally, a slap in the face and saying that you, that's all you get, and like that, that no refunds are like that. But I think when it comes to the show, I mean, I already heard about the reputation that this anime has with the anime community. I already expected the worst, but looking back on it, I don't think this show is as bad as people make it out to be, considering that the show had problems to begin with, so the ending didn't really shock me that much. I mean, of course it did, but I kind of expected it. But I think that what I'm trying to say is that the original story in the manga was already bleak enough with the way author writes it, that I couldn't really see realistically that how this could actually end on a happy conclusion unless the anime staff had the balls to, to come up with the original content and not going with how the author did it. I mean, they did it with Akameka Gil, they did it with many others, but so not why with this? I mean, they must have known that it was shit from the very start, but they still went with it. But in the end, all I feel like is that a new hole has been left inside my heart after watching this show, that this show has taken a lot from both of us.
Yeah.
Final recommendations!
I think you and the audience would excuse me, and I do apologize for being bleak and unenthusiastic when it comes to this. But this week, I don't feel like recommending any of these two anime. And it is for a simple reason, because it felt to me like I am choosing two bullets, which one to shoot myself in the head with. Like, on one hand, you have a factory-made, generic, typical slice-of-life anime that you've seen so many times before that left no impression on you. And on the other hand, you have an anime that it could potentially be good, but with an ending so bad, so heinous, and so crushing and so abusive that it just felt like you just got slapped in the face, and you felt like you wasted your time, and you just lost a part of yourself as a human being. Like, both of these anime are not worth watching, in my honest opinion. I mean, if you were to pick one, I guess I could reluctantly pick Hitoribocchi, but that is really reluctant.
Well, I guess you have a point in a sense, but I think for me personally, I always try to keep two different perspectives when I'm watching different types of shows. One is, of course, my personal opinion. The second one is what I can at least imagine how the average viewer might actually view it. And like I said earlier, when we talked about Hitoribocchi, the show isn't really for us, but somebody else might actually like it more. That it doesn't give that much to the people, especially to us, but at the same time, it doesn't really take anything from us. I mean, it's kind of like looking at a white wall, and that it doesn't take anything away from you, but at the same time, it gives you slightly more. At least it's not absorbing you into it. So I would logically recommend Hitoribocchi any day because it's harmless. But when it comes to Kumamiko, I can't think of any rational, moral, sensible human being who would ever want to watch this show unless they are either a sociopath, psychopath, or someone who really delves on the human suffering and seeing, 14-year-old girl getting broken and her dreams getting crushed into tiny little bits. And so in the end, my recommendation is going to be Hitoribocchi. And as for, Kumamiko, it can just burn down in the pits of hell.
Well, I mean, that's a rather, depressing note to end the episode on. But, on a rather cheerful note, I think next week we will start doing something that a little bit
special.
Where we start reviewing an anime movie, something that we have never done in the show before. But that's it for this episode. We hope you have a pleasant day. Please go and try to watch some anime. And we hope to see you next time on the next edition of
The Midnight Cable. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for any new stuff. If you're interested of other future content, please click the links on the screen. I'm Giman, and I'll see you all next time.